So it's Alabama-Clemson, Part 3. The first two editions did not disappoint in back-to-back national championship games. The Tigers winning in 2016 after the Tide won it in 2015. Think back to that game in 2015, of course, the first week of January, the next season. Clemson came in number 1 in the country, 14-0, and having won its playoff game over Oklahoma in decided fashion with Baker Mayfield at quarterback. Alabama, the big favorite despite having the one loss against a very good Ole Miss team and winning their college football playoff game against Michigan State in resounding fashion, 38-0. Deshaun Watson, we knew what the talent was, but this was the first time on the big stage against this defense, a defense that was being touted as the best in college football, not just in 2015, but over the past 15 to 20 years of college football. And Deshaun Watson showed himself to be a special player. 30 of 47 on that night to keep his team in the game. 478 total yards, 4 touchdowns passing, 1 interception. That was a bit costly as it led to an Alabama touchdown. Sharon Peake was his favorite receiver, 6 catches for 99 yards, but it, of course, was Hunter Renfrow, who will play his 3rd playoff game against Alabama coming up in about a month. 7 catches, 88 yards, and the 2 touchdowns for Hunter Renfrow against Alabama. Maybe one of the big differences in this game, offensively and defensively, was Alabama's ability to stop Wayne Gallman. He had a terrific season for the Tigers, but shut down 14 carries for 45 yards. That included a 34-yarder. So the other 13 carries for Wayne Gallman netted 11 yards against that Alabama front 7 that was loaded with NFL players, of course. Jake Coker played quietly a very efficient and explosive game. He threw the ball downfield and threw it downfield effectively. 16 of 25. On those 16 completions, 335 yards and a couple touchdowns to O.J. Howard, the multi-talented, explosive but little-used tight end in the passing game for Alabama. O.J. Howard, remember it, 5 catches for 208 and the 2 long touchdown receptions to break Clemson's back. Derrick Henry, as we mentioned, one of the big differences. Clemson could not run on the Tide, couldn't push them back. Bama wore down the Clemson defensive front, a very talented defensive front, but the Tide, behind Derrick Henry's 36 carries for $158 and 3 touchdowns, kept the offense balanced. Probably the big difference in the game, in addition to the running disparity, was the special teams. The 2 huge special teams plays the Tide made. Despite Clemson gaining 550 yards in this game and gaining more first downs, 31-18 against Alabama, 24-24 game, 10.5 minutes left to play, and Nick Saban called for the onside kick. Adam Griffith hit it perfectly. Marlon Humphrey made the recovery. It was placed perfectly, and Humphrey was right in perfect position behind the Clemson front line to make the play. Bama scored the go-ahead touchdown. At 24-all, Nick Saban said his defense was worn down, and he did not want Deshaun Watson to have one more possession for the remaining portion of the game to win the game. And that turned the score. And then, of course, with Bama leading 31-27 with 7 minutes left to play, Kenyon Drake took one back 95 yards. So Bama's special teams against a questionable, all-season questionable Clemson special teams proved to be the difference. Bama was a touchdown favorite, actually led 45-33 with 12 seconds left when Jordan Leggett, for you bettors out there, of course, turned the tide on the tables of the people putting money on this game. 45-33, so the Tide had it covered until 12 seconds left to play. Jordan Leggett with the touchdown reception, 45-40 final. Now, of course, we know that Hunter Renfrow back to meet Alabama for a 3rd time. Ray McCloud had a carry and a pass reception in that game as well. For Alabama, in terms of skill position players, Calvin Ridley, he had 6 catches, was mostly ineffective in the game, but had 6 very short receptions in the game, and he is back, as well as punter J.K. Scott for the Crimson Tide. A look back at the 2015 National Championship game, the second of the playoff era, and the first of two classics between Alabama and Clemson. Tide won the first one 45-40. What were your memories of that game? Whether it be on the Clemson side, the Alabama side, or just as a college football fan, we always enjoy hearing from you right here on Mark Rogers TV.